What's going on, guys? My name is Gary and this is my 2013 Chevy Cruze. Today I'm going to be doing a review, a 2.5-year review of my car. This particular car I've owned for, like I said, 2.5 years. I've put 20,000 miles on it. Not a lot, but when you have other vehicles, motorcycles, other stuff, this kind of gets placed on the back burner unless I'm going on trips or something or my daily driving. So with this particular vehicle, I kind of want to talk about some of the pros, some of the cons that I've found over the years. A lot of the reviews on YouTube seem to be, having a car for a day or maybe a week. So this one will get you a better idea, especially after owning it for 2.5 years, what I like, what I don't. So here we go. First, I want to talk about this particular car. Like I said, it's a 2013 Chevrolet Cruze. This vehicle has the 1.4 liter 4-cylinder backed by a 6-speed manual. There are some mods to the car. I have a K&N short ram intake, and then a few other visual mods, tint, whatever. Dealer installed fog light kit. I did it myself, but the kit itself is called dealer installed because it's completely plug and play, no cutting. Other than that, in the LTZ wheels I put on here, the rims, the 18-inch factory LTZ wheels, the car is entirely bone stock. Now I'd like to start with some of the pros. One of the main pros to the vehicle would obviously have to be gas mileage. On the highway, typically I average around 36 miles per gallon. Now, with that being said, you definitely can get more. However, I'm doing 5 to 10 over, maybe a little bit more. And I've taken it on some longer trips, which is awesome. Going back to the gas mileage, throughout the city, I get well over 20. Haven't really, scientifically calculated it to narrow it down specifics, but I can tell you it's well over 20. If I had to guess, probably around 25. Again, could get better if I keep off the foot here. Another pro would have to be visibility in this car. This car has great visibility. There's not many blind spots. I tend to still look over my shoulder, kind of a force of habit thing that I've done ever since I started driving. But other than that, with the mirrors properly set, there's not many blind spots. Really good vehicle to drive. It's short. You can parallel park it easy. Very maneuverable. Guess you can consider that a separate pro there. Lighting's very good on this car. Typically, I like to upgrade to like Sylvania Ultra bulbs or even HIDs, something just to get better light output. But this particular vehicle, the only thing I did was upgrade to that dealer installed fog light kit, and that's plenty. I can visually see great at night. Backing up, little different story, but that could be attributed to the tint I put on here. I think I have 35% on the back, 50% to remain legal, at least in Ohio. But to kind of accommodate that driving difficulty, in reverse at night, I upgraded to, I think they're Silver Star bulbs. This car is kind of a pig. That's definitely one of the cons. This thing's a pig going up a hill here. But anyways, another pro I would have to say is, hey, how you doing? Fucking weird people. Anyways, one of the other pros I'd have to say would be the trunk on this vehicle. The trunk, for once, is a good size and has a substantial opening to which you can actually fit things in there. Now, I did have an 05 Cobalt, which had a nice big trunk, so you can put your bike in it, if you catch my drift. But the opening was terrible. You had to put things in through the door. to really make them fit, along with the bigger trunk on this. The back seats, I think it's a 60-40 split. Don't lynch me if it's wrong, but it does make it nice. One of the other things I like as far as comfort, you could say, would be the seats. This particular car is a LT trim, which basically means you have drum brakes, you have 16-inch wheels, you don't have the watts link on the back, unless I believe it's the RS package, which is just the Rally Sport package with the different fascias and the side skirts. The watts link is just an extra bar. I don't know how to scientifically describe it, but it kind of prevents some of the body roll, which, let's face it, this car is not a goddamn race car, so it doesn't really matter. One of the other pros is the ride quality. Ride quality is pretty phenomenal. My Cobalt, granted it was an SS, it rode like a freaking dump truck. This one has a really nice ride. I'd say maybe rides like a early 2000s Cadillac. You know, kind of a bold statement, I guess you could say, but certainly not like one of the newer Cadillacs, but it does ride very nice as I go over some shitty bumps here in Ohio. This car, I do have the upgraded Pioneer system on it, which includes, I think, an extra 3 speakers. I believe it has 6x8s or 6x9 bass speakers in the back. Don't really, use them all too much. It, don't really crank up the bass. And then it's got an extra speaker up here. I know on some of the other models there's like a tray up here, which is kind of useless no matter what, so why not throw another speaker in its place. This car doesn't have the MyLink. I wish it did. Probably the only other option I wish I did have on this. It does have the sunroof. The sunroof is another great quality of this vehicle. GM has stepped their game up. Some of their other sunroofs, again referring back to a Cobalt, the sunroof was terrible. They had these little plastic ends on it. There's 2 of them, one on the left, one on the right, that just basically held up the weight as you drove. And then after so many bumps, those little plastic pieces would break, and then your sunroof would get jammed, and you'd have to drop the headliner and pull the whole system just to replace these stupid, maybe 25-cent piece plastic ends on it. Ask me how I know. Anyways, I digress. The quality to this particular sunroof is nice. It's kind of refreshing. Yeah, I mean, it's nice. Going back to some other things of mention here would be driving down the highway with the windows down. This is one of my biggest pet peeves of the vehicle. Is I like to enjoy the sun. I don't always like to have the AC cranked. Today, maybe a little different story. It's up in the 80s, getting there today. So on the highway with the windows down, this thing is probably aerodynamic as a brick. I mean, the wind just pounds you here. If you're not driving with all 4 windows down, it's pretty miserable. So that kind of sucks. Outside of that, it's nice. All the models, I guess you could say, have all powered options. Power locks, power mirrors, power windows. What differentiates this car from some of the others is the fact that GM now does a L model, which is their base model, and then the old base model, which was the LS, which I guess you consider just the base model now. The difference between those and this car is those have a 1.8 liter 4-cylinder. You can still get the 6-speed manual or automatic if you like the 6-speed automatic. And they don't have cruise. So I don't know what GM was thinking when they called a Cruze and then don't offer the lower trim models cruise control. Like, what the hell? They even threw a Z in the name. That's like baller. So I don't know what they were thinking, but one of the good things about it is you can swap the steering wheel out. It's really not that big of a deal. Hardest part is getting the airbag out safely, I might add, and swapping the steering wheel. So probably $100 to $150 you can get Cruze on your Chevy Cruze. And you'll want to go to the dealer to get it programmed. You're not going to be able to just slap a steering wheel on and call it a day. You do have to go, I want to say it's around $70 to get it programmed, which, I mean, when you think about it, you know, $150 to get cruise control and not really doing any hard mechanics on the vehicle. I don't even know if that's a thing, hard mechanics. Anyways, difficult mechanics maybe on the vehicle. You can't really beat that. Another one of my pet peeves, other than the windows, is the controls on the radio. The controls on the radio don't have the seek function. They have some little pinwheel thing over here which goes through your presets, but if you push it in, it goes into different cycles, like XM radio, which is bullshit because it's way too expensive for the garbage that it is. And then it'll also go through AM and other FM stations and whatnot. But if they simply put a seek function on here, I would have thanked them greatly. Another con to the vehicle, which drives me nuts, is the windshield. Don't get this confused with the visibility. The windshield itself, I'm referring to the quality of it. The car, I want to say, I had for 5-6 months, got a rock chip, and by the end of the night, it turned into around a 2-inch crack. Had Safelite come out, they said there's no sense in replacing the windshield because they can fix it, so they used their magical resin and sealed it up and then said it has a lifetime replacement, which, quite frankly, it's been 2 years and it's done a good job. But since then, I've gotten 2 other rock chips. It's only a matter of time before they come and become cracks. So I think this time, I'm just going to let the cracks get bigger, then they'll replace the windshield. Hopefully not with a factory GM one, because this quality sucks. The car only has 20,000 miles on it, barely, and I got to deal with rock chips. One of the other things to deal with quality is the paint. Now, with that being said, every vehicle is going to end up with rock chips. If you drive on the highway, whatever else, you're going to end up with paint chips. But the amount of them, the amount of the paint chips you get on this vehicle is ridiculous. I don't know what paint process they use, but whatever it is, there's not enough clear coat, I don't know what, not enough prep, but it's just way too easy to get rock chips. And you get them in the most ridiculous spots. I'm getting rock chips alongside my doors. I'm not driving sideways for that matter, like, come on. What else? I mean, in the 2.5 years I've owned this car, it's had its ups, it's had its downs. It has been very reliable, so I can't ask for anything else. Like a typical cheaper, small, compact car, you are going to have some recalls. The Cruze, it's kind of funny. The 1.4 turbo motor and the 6-speed manual combo. When the car first came out, they had problems with the driver's side axle. This car, although I didn't run into the fate of the axle breaking, they claimed it'd fracture and leave you stranded, which obviously is not a performance car, so you're not going to have posi or a limited slip, so you're going to be stuck. So they wanted to get them changed out, so got the recall, got it changed. Took my dealer around 4 hours to do. Now, I don't know if that's how long it actually took, or if my dealer sucks that bad. They just sat with the car, not did anything. I don't know. But it took them around 4 hours of my time. and as busy as I am, I had to get a rental to drive where I needed to go. So I thought that was the end of the story. Well, it wasn't. A year later, I get a phone call from my dealer stating how there's a recall on the recalled axle they did. So GM was brilliant enough to rush out and deal with this recall. They put more shitty axles in. And the best part of it is, now a year after I got that phone call, they still don't have parts to fix the recalled recall. Gotta love GM. But I mean, other than that, there's some other recalls that they've had. They've had antifreeze leaks, water pump leaks. A really big common one is the smell of antifreeze inside the cabin here. There's some, I don't know, connector or whatever that leaks out. How you can tell is obviously antifreeze smells like shit, so you're gonna smell that, but you'll find the carpet kind of wet. This car never had that problem. Again, there's only 20,000 miles on it, so maybe get more mileage on it, you know, you'll see more problems. But as far as reliability goes, this has been a really awesome car for that. Sorry if I jump kind of back and forth, but my brain's kind of scattered here. Going to a pro, another pro would be comfortability in this car. Being over 6 feet tall, I was kind of hesitant to pick this particular vehicle up because I had to crank the seat back. Now, I really don't give a shit about the people in the back seat, so I figured, what the hell, I'll roll with it. The seat is cranked all the way back, but it is indeed very comfortable. I've taken this car on some decent trips, the longest one being around 7.5 hours going from Ohio to Tennessee, so 7.5 hours there and back. Well, I should say 7.5 hours one way there, 7.5 hours there back. So that was a good, decent trip. And as far as comfortability goes, these seats are actually surprisingly comfortable, especially being over 6 foot tall. Now, anybody in the back seat, that'd be a different story. But again, I really don't care. The quality of the cloth, which is part of the L, the LS, and the LT models, is actually really awesome. I like it better than the leather options of the 2LT and the LTZ models. Although it does suck because you don't get the heated seats like you would with the leather, but quite honestly, leather's the problem, I think, in the winter because it gets so cold, and the cloth, it stays pretty warm even in the winter. So I think quality way better in the cloth. But I guess in sum is, if I had to do it over again, would I get this car? Probably not. But I can say I don't think I'd be happier in a different compact vehicle. It is cheap. It is economical. It's not the greatest car out there. It's nice to see that they're continuing it. At the end of this summer, there will be the second generation of Chevy Cruze released, so it will be interesting to see how that one compares to this particular one. But I can say I am very pleased with it. Cheap, compact car, very reliable. Yes, it has its pros. Yes, it has its cons. Just like any other vehicle in this world, you know. Fortunately, it's not a high dollar vehicle. Anybody can pick up and get in one. And I want to say leases currently on these vehicles are like $80 a month. You can't beat that. So, in sum, my 2.5 year review here. I like the car. Probably won't keep the car forever, but for long road trips, it's nice. daily commutes, not so much with the 6-speed. If I had to go back, probably get an automatic if I had to choose again and pick this particular vehicle. One thing I didn't mention before I go is the 6-speed. You're constantly shifting, always shifting. And right now I'm at 22 miles an hour and in third gear. Kind of ridiculous. So you're always shifting. It's something to get used to. But with that being said, the clutch is pretty awesome. It's super lightweight. I can probably push the clutch down with my 2 fingers. So that makes it probably, in my eyes, one of the easiest cars to drive stick shift. But again, you're always shifting with the 6-speed. I kind of want to go back and go to a 5-speed with this vehicle. But it's all about fuel economy, so I understand why GM did it. So again, the vehicle has plenty pros, plenty of cons. I'm sure I've missed things. But you want to bring anything up, feel free to comment, any concerns or anything. So I thank you for watching. See ya.